And let me ask you something important. Not something you answer out loud, but something you answer honestly inside yourself. How many times have you said, I know what to do, but I just don't do it? That gap between knowing and doing is where most dreams die. Talent doesn't fail people. Intelligence doesn't fail people, and what fails people is the lack of discipline. Today, I want to show you how discipline, simple, uncomfortable, daily discipline, can completely change your life. And discipline is not about being extreme. It's not about punishment or living like a machine. Discipline is about self-respect, and it's about choosing what you want most over what you want now. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common, and they learned to control themselves when it was hard, boring, or painful. While others waited for motivation, they moved with discipline. And that choice changed everything. And when you develop discipline, your life stops being controlled by moods. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? And you start asking, and what needs to be done? Discipline wakes you up early when comfort tells you to sleep. Discipline pushes you to train when excuses tell you to rest. And discipline forces you to grow when fear tells you to stay small. And over time, those small disciplined actions stack up into massive results. And discipline builds confidence in a way motivation never can. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a message to your mind, I can be trusted. And you stop doubting yourself. You stop starting and quitting. You become someone who finishes. That confidence doesn't come from words, it comes from proof. And proof created by discipline, day after day, especially on the days you don't feel like showing up. Discipline also brings clarity. When your habits are strong and your decisions become easier, you don't waste energy debating whether to work, train, study, or improve, you just do it. Chaos disappears. Direction appears, and your goals stop feeling overwhelming because discipline breaks them into daily actions. And when you control your daily actions, you control your future. Let me be clear, and discipline will not make life easy. It will make life possible. Without discipline, you live in regret. With discipline, you live in progress. Without discipline, and you depend on luck. With discipline, you create momentum. And once momentum starts, it's hard to stop. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary lives, and most people fall in love with the idea of success, but very few fall in love with the process required to achieve it. Everyone has dreams. Everyone wants a better life, and more respect, more freedom, more confidence. But dreams alone have never changed anyone's reality. What changes life is action, and what turns action into a habit is discipline. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect time and start taking consistent steps, everything begins to shift, and discipline takes big dreams and breaks them down into daily responsibilities. It removes overwhelm and replaces it with clarity. And instead of asking yourself how you will achieve something massive, discipline asks a simpler question. What can you do today? And that question is powerful because today is controllable. Today is manageable. When you focus on winning the day, progress becomes inevitable. And here's the hard truth most people avoid: talent without discipline is wasted potential. Intelligence without discipline becomes frustration. You don't need more motivation and more ideas or more time. You need structure. Discipline creates that structure by forcing you to act even when you don't feel inspired, and it teaches you to move forward on ordinary days, not just on emotional highs. Every disciplined action, no matter how small, and sends a message to your mind that you are serious about your future. One early morning, one focused hour, one decision to show up when quitting feels easier. And these actions may seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound quietly. Over time, they create momentum, and momentum creates confidence. And most people wait for confidence before they act. Discipline flips that order. You act first, and confidence follows. When you commit to daily action, and your dream stops being a fantasy and starts becoming a plan. And once a dream becomes a plan, it becomes dangerous in the best possible way, because now it has direction and consistency and power behind it. Motivation is exciting, but it is unreliable. It shows up when things feel good and disappears the moment discomfort enters the room. And one day you feel unstoppable, and the next day you feel tired, distracted, or uninspired. If your progress depends on how you feel, and then your results will always be unstable. This is why so many people start strong and quit silently. They mistake motivation for commitment, and when motivation fades, and so does their effort. Discipline works differently. Discipline does not ask how you feel, It asks what must be done, and it keeps you moving when energy is low and enthusiasm is gone. On the days when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and nothing feels exciting, and discipline becomes the force that carries you forward. That is why discipline outlasts motivation. It is built on decision, not emotion. And here's the truth most people don't want to accept: waiting for motivation is a trap. If you only work when you feel inspired and you give your emotions control over your future, discipline takes that control back. It creates consistency, and consistency is what produces real results. And you don't need to feel powerful to act powerful. You don't need to feel ready to start. You only need the discipline to begin. And the most successful individuals understand this deeply. They don't rely on hype or temporary excitement. They rely on systems, routines, and standards they refuse to break, and they show up on bad days, boring days, and painful days. That is why they stay ahead while others fall behind. Motivation may open the door, but discipline is what keeps you inside the room. When emotions fail you, discipline becomes your anchor. It is permanent, dependable, and relentless. And when you build discipline, your progress no longer depends on how you feel. It depends on who you decide to be every single day. And most people think confidence comes from talent, praise, or external validation. But real confidence is built in a much quieter way. It is built when no one is watching, and when no one is cheering, and when quitting would be easier than continuing. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn, and discipline is the tool that earns it. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's uncomfortable, you strengthen your belief in yourself, and self-doubt grows when your actions don't match your intentions. You tell yourself you will start tomorrow, wake up early, stay consistent, or finish what you begin, and then you don't. Over time, your mind stops trusting your words. Discipline reverses that damage. It rebuilds trust between you and yourself. One kept promise at a time, and discipline turns doubt into certainty and hesitation into strength. Here's a powerful truth: confidence is not built by big wins. It is built by small and repeated acts of self-respect. Waking up on time, completing the task you wanted to avoid, showing up when excuses feel justified. These moments may seem ordinary, but they are the foundation of unbreakable confidence. When you prove to yourself that you can be relied on, fear loses its power, and discipline also removes the need for external approval. When you know you are doing the work, you stop seeking validation. And you don't need encouragement to continue because your confidence is internal. It comes from effort, not opinion. That kind of confidence cannot be taken away, because it wasn't given by anyone else. People with discipline walk differently, speak differently, and carry themselves differently, not because they feel superior, but because they trust themselves. They know they can handle discomfort, pressure, and responsibility. That trust creates a quiet strength that others feel immediately. And discipline doesn't just change what you do, it changes how you see yourself. And that shift transforms every area of your life. And most people believe they are in control of their lives, but their daily actions tell a different story. They wake up late, react to notifications, follow impulses, and call it normal. In reality, distraction is making their decisions for them. Discipline is what takes that control back, and it puts you in the driver's seat instead of letting circumstances, emotions, and habits decide your direction. The moment discipline enters your life, and chaos begins to lose its grip. Without discipline, time controls you. Hours disappear without results, and days blur together with little progress. And discipline gives time a purpose. It forces structure into your routine and clarity into your priorities. Instead of reacting to everything around you, you begin responding with intention. You choose what deserves your energy and what doesn't. That choice alone separates focused individuals from overwhelmed ones. And here's the uncomfortable truth: lack of discipline leads to a life run by excuses. You know what needs to be done, but distractions feel easier. Comfort feels safer, and discipline interrupts that cycle. It trains you to delay pleasure and face discomfort without running from it. When you can control your impulses, you gain power over your habits. When you gain power over your habits, you gain control over your future. Discipline also creates emotional stability, and when your life is structured, your mind becomes calmer. You stop feeling lost because your actions align with your goals. Stress decreases, not because life becomes easy, but because you are no longer avoiding responsibility. You face it daily in manageable pieces, and that builds inner strength. Control is not about force, and it is about consistency. Discipline teaches you to show up, follow through, and stay focused even when distractions are loud. When you control your time, your actions, and your habits, you stop feeling like life is happening to you. You start feeling like life is responding to you, and that sense of control changes everything. And most people underestimate the power of small actions because they are obsessed with big results. They want instant transformation, dramatic breakthroughs, and an overnight success. What they fail to see is that every massive achievement is built on tiny, disciplined choices repeated consistently over time, and small habits may look harmless or insignificant, but when practiced daily, they quietly shape your identity and determine your future. And a single disciplined habit doesn't change your life in one day, and that's why many people ignore it. Waking up 30 minutes earlier, reading a few pages, and training for a short session or focusing deeply for 1 hour doesn't feel impressive. But discipline doesn't work through excitement, it works through accumulation, and each small action is a vote for the person you are becoming, and over time those votes add up to undeniable results. Here's the hook most people miss, and consistency beats intensity every time. You don't need extreme effort for a short period, you need controlled effort for a long period, and discipline makes progress sustainable. It removes burnout and replaces it with rhythm. When your habits are small and repeatable, and quitting becomes harder and showing up becomes natural. Small disciplined habits also create momentum. Once you start winning in small ways, your confidence grows, and you begin to trust yourself. One good habit leads to another, and soon your entire routine shifts. What once felt difficult becomes normal, and what once felt impossible becomes expected. This is how ordinary people produce extraordinary outcomes without dramatic changes, and the most powerful transformations are often invisible at first. While others look for shortcuts, disciplined individuals are stacking habits silently, day by day, and they are building skills, strength, focus, and character. Then one day, the results appear sudden to the outside world, but they were never sudden, and they were earned through small, disciplined actions repeated when no one was paying attention. Everyone wants success, but very few are willing to endure the discomfort that comes with it. This is where the real separation happens. When things get hard, when progress feels slow, and when results are not immediate, most people look for an exit. Discipline is what keeps you standing when quitting feels reasonable, and it is the difference between those who talk about their potential and those who actually fulfill it. The moment discomfort appears, excuses become convincing, and you feel tired, overwhelmed, or uncertain, and suddenly stopping feels justified. Discipline cuts through that noise, and it reminds you that growth has never been comfortable and that pressure is part of the process. Winners are not fearless, they are disciplined enough to act despite fear, and they show up when others step back, and over time, that decision creates a massive gap. Here's the hook most people don't want to hear, and quitting is easy because it gives instant relief. Discipline denies that relief in exchange for long-term reward. That trade-off is what separates winners from quitters, and while others seek comfort, disciplined individuals choose progress. While others wait for better conditions, disciplined individuals adapt and move forward. And discipline also builds resilience. Each time you push through resistance, you strengthen your ability to handle pressure. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable, and you stop breaking under stress because you have trained yourself to endure. This resilience compounds just like habits do, and making you stronger with every challenge you face. Over time, discipline becomes your identity. You are no longer someone who starts and stops, and you are someone who finishes. People notice your consistency, your reliability, and your mental toughness. Opportunities begin to follow you, not because of luck, but because discipline has made you dependable. When discomfort arrives, quitters look for excuses. Disciplined individuals look for solutions, and that mindset is what keeps them winning. So if you want your life to change, don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation to magically appear, and start with discipline. Start small. Do what you said you would do today, then do it again tomorrow. Discipline is not loud, it doesn't announce itself, but it always delivers results. Master your discipline, and you will master your life. The choice is yours, make it today.